In a world stitched together by trade routes and oil pipelines, a silent rupture has begun. On August 6, 2025, the United States, once a champion of globalization, fired an economic warning shot not at a rogue state, but at its own strategic ally, India. 50%. That's the new tariff rate slapped on nearly all Indian exports to the United States. America's answer to New Delhi's defiance over Russian oil. But behind this figure lies a deeper fracture, one of trust, of shifting alliances, and of an America willing to torch its own partnerships to send a message. As the White House declares economic war, a billion-dollar question hangs in the air. Who truly pays the price? President Donald Trump, now deep into his second term, unleashed one of his most aggressive trade moves yet, an executive order slapping an additional 25% tariff on Indian goods, on top of an already impending 25% levy. Together, this brings the total tariff burden to a crushing 50% on billions of dollars worth of Indian exports entering U.S. markets. The official reason? India's continued purchase of discounted Russian crude oil. The White House accuses New Delhi of funding Putin's war machine, arguing that such trade undermines global efforts to isolate Moscow over its invasion of Ukraine. To Trump, India's defiance isn't just economic, it's geopolitical betrayal. His tone was unmistakably combative. On his social media platform, Trump declared, "They, India, don't care how many people in Ukraine are being killed by the Russian war machine. I will be substantially raising the tariff." The impact is sweeping. Indian exports like textiles, leather, footwear, shrimp, and jewelry are directly hit. Some sectors, when combined with existing penalties, now face effective duties exceeding 58%. Notably, electronics, critical minerals, pharmaceuticals, and oil are exempt, revealing a strategic attempt to shield American consumers from price shocks. But for India's broader export economy, especially small and medium enterprises, the message is clear. America's market is no longer open. India's reaction to the tariff bombshell was firm, yet surprisingly restrained. The Ministry of External Affairs condemned the move in strong terms, calling it unfair, unjustified, and unreasonable. Indian officials emphasized that the country's oil purchases from Russia are driven by market realities and the urgent need to secure affordable energy for 1.4 billion people. In a rapidly growing economy where energy is the engine, oil isn't just a commodity, it's a national necessity. Yet, despite the sharp rhetoric, New Delhi chose not to retaliate. No reciprocal tariffs were announced. No military deals were cancelled. There were no urgent appeals at the WTO. Instead, India signaled calm resolve. So why the restraint? Analysts suggest India is pursuing a strategic path. Behind closed doors, diplomatic channels remain open. Indian officials are exploring a potential compromise, a gradual reduction in Russian oil imports in exchange for a rollback of U.S. tariffs. The 21-day delay before full implementation may be a window for negotiations, but it's closing fast. Meanwhile, a bigger signal is being sent. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is preparing for a long-anticipated visit to China, his first in over 7 years. As the U.S. slams doors, Beijing may be quietly opening new ones. While Trump insists that tariffs bring money into America, the reality is more nuanced. American importers, not Indian exporters, pay these duties. That means higher prices for U.S. consumers, especially for everyday goods like clothes, seafood, and gems. Small businesses that rely on Indian suppliers are sounding the alarm. Economists warn that low-income American households will bear the brunt as cheaper Indian products become unaffordable or vanish from shelves entirely. U.S. industries dependent on Indian software, IT support, and generic medicines also fear disruptions. And while Apple announced a $100 billion domestic manufacturing investment to dodge tariffs, Most companies can't pivot that fast, or afford to. For India, the pain is real and immediate. Over 55% of Indian exports to the U.S. are affected. Some trade economists warn of a 40 to 50% drop in outbound shipments to America. Goldman Sachs has already trimmed India's GDP growth forecast, citing these tariffs as a direct threat. Textiles, gems, marine products, all industries dominated by MSMEs, now face an existential crisis. Indian exporters warn they are at a 30 to 35% disadvantage compared to regional rivals like Vietnam and Bangladesh, who are not subject to such duties. To soften the blow, India is considering loan guarantees, interest subsidies, and tax relief. But the damage may already be done. The tariff war sends a chilling signal to the world. It accelerates the de-dollarization trend as more nations, including India, consider settling oil trades in rupees, rubles, or yuan. It reshapes supply chains, driving countries to reduce reliance on any one partner. Most critically, it undermines trust in the U.S. as a predictable economic partner. For allies and adversaries alike, the message is clear. America first may mean alliances last. This isn't just a trade dispute. It's a geopolitical shockwave with global consequences. India, once hailed as Washington's key partner to counterbalance China's rise, now finds itself economically ambushed by the very country it sought alignment with. While New Delhi navigates crushing tariffs from the U.S., doors are quietly opening in Beijing and Moscow. What once looked like strategic rivalry is fast becoming strategic realignment. The BRICS alliance, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, is gaining unprecedented momentum. Discussions once confined to theory are now action plans. Shared digital payment systems, common trading currencies, and joint defense frameworks are no longer distant goals. They're becoming policy. Visualize the shift. U.S. ports growing quieter, container ships rerouted, trade agreements signed in Mandarin and Russian instead of English. The global order is being restructured, not by invasion, but by invoices. For India, this moment is sobering. Years of political spectacle, rallies, hugs, and press conferences with American presidents have failed to shield it from economic punishment. The tariffs lay bare a painful truth. Personal diplomacy has its limits in a world ruled by strategic interests. And as global analysts are beginning to warn, the U.S. isn't just isolating its enemies. It's pushing its friends, quietly but decisively, into the arms of its greatest rivals. The tariff didn't arrive with fanfare or fury. It came silently, through an executive order, a quiet press release, and a shift too deep to ignore. India wasn't punished for betrayal. It was punished for non-compliance. In today's world, that's all it takes. This isn't merely a dispute over oil or trade. It's a signal, a turning point, a warning to allies that loyalty isn't enough, and independence comes with a price. Empires don't always fall in flames. Sometimes they're simply replaced, deal by deal, ally by ally, port by port. America wasn't pushed out. It walked out, and the world kept moving. The silence wasn't peace. It was transition, and it has already begun. Is this how global empires fall? Not with a bang, but with a quiet retreat? When allies turn away and silence replaces strength? Tell us what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because this isn't just about India. It's about a changing world order. And trust us, this story is far from over.